How do you get around?
I get around on the bicycle in the centre of Amsterdam, which is wonderful, actually. I love the fact that I don't have to use the car much. We do have a car because we go abroad a lot, so it's great for when you're travelling in Europe. But I'm lucky living in the centre of Amsterdam, and I can, because it's quite small actually, I can get around mostly on the bike, which is fantastic for the centre of the city.
Have you ever had your bike stolen?
Yes, twice. My husband has had his bike stolen 3 times in the last 18 months. Enormously frustrating.
What must you do to protect or keep your bike?
Okay. Always attach your bike to something and have a gigantic lock. If you lock it with a gigantic lock and don't attach it to a railing, it can still be picked up and put into a lorry. So make sure you attach it to something.
Do you remember what it was like for the first time to bicycle around?
Terrifying. Yeah. Yeah, especially the first time cycling with a child, because everybody cycles with a child in the centre of Amsterdam, young children, without helmets, which is pretty difficult to get used to from some cultures. But I now cycle with my 7-year-old child all the time, and it's a wonderful thing because it gives a sort of a village-like atmosphere to the centre of Amsterdam because it's not noisy. You're outside. If you see someone in a cafe, you can wave to them. With having a child at school in the centre of town, you do come across other children when you're cycling around. So that's a real positive about the centre of Amsterdam as a city.
And do you sometimes take the train?
Yes, I use public transport much more than I used to. I'm lucky because I use intercity trains a lot, which are good. The other trains are less good, less comfortable.
What's good mean? What does good mean?
Warm, comfortable, well lit, on time mostly, not always, but compared with England, definitely more efficient.
So you could get around Holland without a car?
Yes, but I think a car is really, we have one, I think it's useful. But if you're in the centre of town, it can be a liability because it costs so much to park, and you can't often get a parking permit for 5 years if you're in the centre of town.
You have to wait.
5 years, yeah, which is quite a long time if you're only here for a year.
Yeah, then that's not an option.
No,
yeah.
Sure.
Did you organize a home for yourself, or was it organized for you and your husband?
Originally, my husband is Dutch, so he had a home already.
Okay.
So originally I moved into his rented home, but fairly quickly I didn't feel comfortable moving into someone else's home. I'd always had my own apartment in London. So fairly quickly we decided to buy. And we lived for 9 years in a large 5-bedroom house which we bought.
A what kind of house?
A large 5-bedroomed house which we bought. And then we moved, then I decided I wanted to be more in the international culture in Amsterdam, which is more based in the centre. We were living then at the edge of Amsterdam. And so we moved into the centre, into a much smaller house, but it's really fun to live in the centre of Amsterdam. I do recall when I first went to the supermarket in Holland, I wanted to get some milk, and at that point I didn't speak Dutch. And I came home and discovered the milk was sour. So I brought it back to the shop immediately and said, this milk is sour, you need to replace it, and was pretty annoyed. The shopkeeper very politely explained to me that it was meant to be sour. The Dutch people like to drink this thing called karnemilk. So I very directly said to him, look, I may be a foreigner, but I'm not stupid. But I was. Dutch people do like to drink sour milk.
Why is that?
It's they drink normal milk and sour milk. It's just they just like it. So learn that one. It's called karnemilk, and it's different to normal milk. So learn that when you go to the supermarket.